So there's been an update. I wanted to talk about this at the beginning or so, but we were, we got sidetracked for a few other things. There has been an update with the Johnny Somali stuff. Our good old friend Atozi, we're gonna be talking about it specifically. So apparently there's two videos that came up, and we're gonna have to see what's going on because there's been a lot of updates as of recently of the Johnny Somali situation. I didn't think there was gonna be any more.
Just a few days after the most hated IRL streamer taunted the Korean public to come and get him.
Tomorrow I'm outside for Halloween. Come catch me. I'm outside tomorrow. Come find me.
Jesus Christ.
He allegedly ended up begging police to protect him. It's safe to say things are not going in the favor of the most hated IRL streamer in the world right now, as he's currently stuck in Korea, and it seems like he's going to be there for a while, as more charges have been filed against him, and they postponed his travel ban until the case he was indicted in is resolved. And as we said previously, a national Korean news station just revealed that he allegedly begged the police for protection after taunting the Korean public.
Are you serious? Oh my god, he got his cloud. He is the biggest in the world. That's something. Yeah. Again, Korea can keep him.
Come and find him. And thankfully, the news station Korea Now is in English, so we can actually understand this.
American YouTuber Johnny Somali has engaged in outrageous acts in South Korea, such as kissing the
this is like one of those clips I really don't like the most, to be honest.
Statue of Peace and causing disturbances at a
No, not the noodles again.
convenience store has been referred to the public
That's still
prosecutor's
such a
office.
ridiculous
On
clip.
Monday, Seoul Mapo police said it has forwarded the case involving the live streamer, who has been charged with obstruction but has not been detained for further investigation.
Okay, so he's still free as of right now.
In the operations of a convenience store by playing loud music and pouring instant noodles on a table after being stopped from drinking alcohol by an employee. He even uploaded his action on his YouTube channel, which got the local police involved and barred him from leaving the country.
He's just self-snitching on him. Everything he does is a self-report.
A probe in connection to possible assaults and even illegal use. Somali's disrespectful and offensive behavior, meanwhile, has drawn significant public criticism in Korea. In fact, last month, he was attacked multiple times on the streets of Seoul by Korean live streamers. Somali.
This was after he taunted them.
Police protection after claiming someone was stalking him in the city of Kudi. He claimed that an unidentified man presumed to be a YouTuber was following him, and that his address in Kudi City was revealed by Korean YouTubers through their live streams. Earlier on the 6th, Somali publicly apologized to Koreans through a YouTube video, but this action has been coldly received by the general public, who doubts his sincerity.
Yeah, and I mean, there's plenty of reasons
God
to doubt
damn,
the apology,
dude.
but first, going back to him begging the
What did
police to
Epstein- what
protect
did
him,
Epstein say?
apparently he recorded this video, and this was posted somewhere, probably on his
No.
Discord, of him in the backseat being protected.
Stop drinking in the cop car, man.
Well, it's not on camera.
Or I'm gonna drop everything, man.
We're not drinking. We're not drinking. We're not drinking. Hey, please, bro. It's not on camera.
You follow my orders. We're not helping you, okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, lie. This is not Japan. Americans have way more freedom here.
We guys always were free.
Protecting us. We in the back of the police car. Come and get us.
Yo, they gonna look at these films. They gonna be like, oh, hell no. I said stop drinking.
Right. I mean, even while being protected by the police, you can't behave. Oh boy, I mean, this guy.
Jesus fucking. They literally said stop fucking drinking, and he's still fucking drinking, dude. Like, honestly.
Is gonna have such a rude awakening when his
Oh
case
my
actually goes to
God, you
trial,
can't be
because
serious,
according to the YouTube
dude.
attorney legal mindset, if he was
It's part of their job. They can't say no. They're part of the police.
just gonna get a simple slap on the wrist, that would have happened by now. Instead, they're going to trial. As you can see by this chart that legal mindset made, it's either one or the other apparently over there. And in Korea, that normally means a more severe punishment and typically jail time. So it's just laughably stupid that someone will willingly put themselves in this bad of a situation for some simple attention on the internet. But while he's also just screaming, "Come and get me," he's filing restraining orders on other people who met him while streaming.
누가 신고한 건데요?
Thankfully, this one has English subtitles.
조니가 저 신고했어요?
Johnny filed charges against me?
네, 잠시만요. 네. 잠정 조치가 뭐예요? 네, 맞아요. 네, 맞아요. 네.
So he can't be within 100 meters of Johnny, and Johnny filed this restraining order. Right, yeah.
네. 네, 알겠습니다. 네.
Johnny is such a coward. Like, he clearly effed around a little bit too much and found out, physically and legally. And obviously, people aren't buying his apology as a
some people don't really care. Those I know there's some crazy people that wouldn't care about this and would literally just straight up go up to him anyway. So
sounds extremely insincere, but
there are
didn't
some crazy
stop the
people who
Korean
don't
media
care.
from reporting on it. Because here you have a full-on article by Korea Jungang Daily. Johnny Somali apologizes to Koreans, cites ignorance, different comedy cultures. Yeah, right, dude. So like the whole basis of his apology was, oh, I didn't know better. I didn't know what
Hey,
that
Kevin.
statue
How you
was.
doing there, hun? Welcome,
Essentially,
welcome.
it's just a rinse and repeat of what
You're
happened
part
in
of a YouTube
Japan.
community?
He
Welcome,
apologized
welcome.
profusely multiple times until he was out of the country safe. And then he just deleted all of his apologies and took it back like nothing happened. And now you have more clips coming from his last streams that just nuke what's left of the credibility of that apology. Because here is a clip of him literally reading exactly what this statue is and what it stands for.
I'm talking about the Korean comfort women. The thousands of women who were forced into by the Imperial Japanese Army during World War II. Let's not mince our words. These women were kidnapped. They were victims of one of the largest state-sponsored systems of exploitation in modern history.
So now his apology has
Interesting. Thank you for the follow, so welcome.
zero weight. But speaking of old stream clips, another old stream clip confirms that the police is actually investigating the statue incident.
The police have to investigate you because
We've been sitting here 1 hour.
Can I speak?
Go ahead, talk.
We saw your video.
I don't do no crime. No crime.
You haven't been visit the Itaewon, right?
No crime. I don't do no crime.
Then you touch the
I don't do no crime.
bronze statue.
No talk.
Is it okay you go with us
No.
for the
No.
investigate?
No.
No. And then you can be under arrest because you touch the girl's bronze statue and then doing some on your opinion.
I don't want to go with you. I will not go with you. No.
And then you don't want to go another day
No.
for the investigating.
I need to talk to my Korean friend and lawyer. I have Korean friend and lawyer. I will not go with you.
Dude, this guy is so unsufferable, to be honest. This guy is so unsufferable.
You can get some help from the lawyer.
I'm not going. I'm not going with you. No.
Didn't do anything.
No crime. No crime.
Girls bronze.
No crime. Nothing illegal.
God,
no
I
crime.
hate this guy so
Frankly, I
much,
did no
dude.
crime.
Now that he's travel banned, they have plenty of time to investigate him for this.
Mini crime. What did he do? Name him. Name crime. Name.
We're listening.
You doing the sexual thing
I'm not no sexual. No sexual.
to the bronze of the.
Bro, you streamed it.
No, you didn't.
I'm gay. I'm gay. I'm gay.
What is with these Irish?
He literally says, I'm gay. For an excuse. That's literally his excuse. He says, I'm gay. That's his excuse that he decided to use for the bronze statue thing. To try to get away from it. From the situation itself.
IRL streamers and faking being gay to avoid any sort of accountability. Like literally in yesterday's video, we watched Fuzi do the exact same thing. He just faked being gay to try to avoid accountability. These guys would literally do anything just to weasel their way out of a little bit of accountability.
Hey guys, how you doing
I'm
there,
gay.
hun?
We saw the video.
So they're asking me if I want to voluntarily go to the station. I said, voluntarily go to the station. I have a choice.
Yes, your choice.
My choice.
Gay
This
is
my
an
choice
option
to go to the
to
station.
go
No.
to straight jail. Sanakotukaki, Sanakotukaki.
Another day, police call to you.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. You can call. Call me.
Another day because you doing.
Yep, it's
banking at
working.
the
It's working.
subway station.
You got a different
We
voice
saw
for
the
the
video.
TTS.
What I do?
What do you do?
You dance in the subway station, right?
Hank, that's illegal?
Yes, illegal because
Dancing.
yes, that dancing body motion like the sexual problem. Okay.
That's some bullshit, bro. No, it's not true.
Right. He just posted that clip on his TikTok today as well.
We can go. Bye-bye. W 13-0.
Oh, okay. So now his recent TikToks make a little bit more sense because he's essentially just taunting this whole case, which is just so beyond stupid. But it's not
really
like we've been covering
stupid in
him
my
for being a
personal opinion.
genius. So I can't really be surprised here. But we'll get back to the subway clips in a bit because he's now facing even more charges as an IRL streamer he harassed on the street by the name of Boomy ITV pressed charges against him the other day. And of course, the evidence is there because Johnny streamed himself doing this. Johnny is his own worst enemy. But Boomy tweeted a clip of Johnny's stream with the caption, "He is harassing me when I do IRL. Johnny's Somali weird." And then he later on confirmed that he did press charges for this incident.
We are Kixinimar. I am Kixinimar. You are Kixinimar. One second. He actually looked.
That accent is just so disrespectful.
Dude, if I was this streamer, I would punch him in the face, to be honest.
He said he's calling the police. Call police, mommy, call. 112. Call police, mommy.
I mean, the dude is just humiliating himself here. Like, congratulations, dude.
Call the police, please, mommy. 112, call the police, mommy. Pick that car. You are my streamer. Can you give me a hug, then I go? You give me a hug, I need to move you. Why?
What a weird person, dude. What a freaking weirdo, dude. Asia, you're all too nice to drop kick.
Stay out of Seoul! This is my territory now. I run the city. Ain't no kick streamers on my block, you ass. Run!
Right. All of this is just so tiring. Like, we all want to live in a society where there's a 0% chance of being harassed in public by an IRL streamer trying to use you for content. So, I mean, this just should not be acceptable, and hopefully he will be punished for this. But if this guy actually ends up getting years in prison for just being an all-around fool, he played himself. Like, bravo, just keep cooking yourself, dude. Like, and also, I mean, he just did this exact same thing in Japan, but I guess he got away with it in Japan, so he's extremely arrogant here in Korea. He has a little bit too much of that survivor bias, I think. But I mean, at this point, he just has so many charges that he's going to have to spend maybe more money in court defending himself than what he's made off of doing all this. Or even worse, represent himself and face way harsher penalties. As, I mean, good luck representing yourself here in the US when you have a little bit of a vague understanding of the law. In Korea, you're going to be completely lost.
Quick afterthought. Yeah, he's probably using a public defender.
But either way, this dude is now flexing his emergency passport on TikTok because people were kind of memeing him saying, haha, the Korean government has your passport. And he's like, no, I have this emergency passport as well. Look at that. Dude, that thing's useless. You can't leave. What's the point of this? So according to Cancel Johnny's on Twitter, this passport was given to him as an emergency so he could leave Israel when he was in danger last time, which is why I guess he would have 2 passports. And then on top of this, he's still posting the same disrespectful content of him in the subway, which we heard the investigator talk about briefly earlier.
I bet he gonna enjoy life in prison since he is gay and people in prison is gay. Sonakotru cooking.
It doesn't really do the emotes.
Doing is just making things harder for himself in court. And he's also re-uploading the statue clips onto his Rumble account while they're in Korea still. So again, he's just trying to push the boundary. He wants to see how much he can get away with. So it's definitely going to be extremely interesting to see what the Korean court system decides to do with him. I don't know, guys. What do you think the odds are? Let me know in the comments down below what you think. But other than that, we just dropped Boston and Washington, D.C.
There's still more. There's still more, Chad. It's not over yet. We still got more.
It's safe to say the most hated IRL streamers in a
still
lot
got
of trouble
more
in Korea, as he has multiple police reports against him and has officially been indicted. But how much trouble is he actually facing? Well, that's what we're going to be finding out in today's video, because I got in contact with an attorney based in Korea who's been very involved with the story.
Oh wait, Legal Mindset is actually in. Wait, Legal Mindset is involved in this? No fucking way, dude. What?
And has a way better understanding of how the Korean legal system works. Because after talking to him for about half an hour, I really found out how bad things really are for this disrespectful IRL streamer. So here's my conversation with him.
I've been told by a lot of people here that the international coverage of this issue is significantly helping expedite this. So that's actually a really good thing.
As an attorney, what are your thoughts on how Japan handled the situation? I just wanted to like ask you that before we talk about the Korean situation.
Sure. And I'll say this too, and this is like a caveat that goes over everything, but I'll say it multiple times, but because it's important to say. Obviously, I am not a Japanese or Korean lawyer, right? So when I speak about Japanese or Korean law, it's through usually friends of mine who are lawyers in Japan or Korea who have explained it to me, right? And as an American lawyer, obviously, it makes a lot more sense to me than perhaps the normal person because we're used to criminal procedure, civil.
Oh, I didn't play the TTS. Why didn't I play the TTS?
This guy make Bella look like a pope from Vatican. Smitty 24 Smitty 24
It's supposed to play the TTS or so for the bid or so for that. I have to see what's wrong with that or so.
Procedure, etc.
It should be
right?
playing it. It should have played
so
it.
When we look at what happens, also as an aside, one of my businesses is helping folks come over to Asia, to Korea, Japan,
oh, people get
Thailand.
the yaoi in
so
prison.
I am familiar with immigration, the visa process.
I don't know if well, I put the limit for 50. Try a 51 and see if it works. It's on the YouTube. It's not on the YouTube. It's on the Twitch panel. Try it from the Twitch panel, Kitsune. See if it's 50 bits or so. See if it works.
Process and what
I thought 50 was like kind of like a reasonable
right,
price
which can happen with deportation. So
not everyone can do 100.
Japan handled this in a very interesting way. So they could have brought more charges against him. It was possible to levy more charges against him. However, what they ultimately ended up doing was saying, okay, we're going to have this one charge, this relatively minor charge, right? You're going to enter into a plea, right? We're not going to sentence you. We're going to release you. You are going to have to leave. But because he was found guilty of that plea, he's now blacklisted for 5 years, right? So he's got a 5-year Japanese ban.
Oh, he is 5 years banned from Japan? Damn, that's crazy. It should have been longer, in my personal opinion. I'm just saying. Should have been way longer.
So he cannot go to Japan. So right now, one of the jokes that Johnny was saying was, he's going to go to Jeju, which is an island. It's like Korea's Hawaii, right? Even if he went to Jeju on a boat, he couldn't go anywhere because the only options are China, which good luck there, North Korea or Japan that are right next to us, maritime neighbors. And he can't go to Japan. He's locked out. He's banned for 5 years. So a lot of people think Japan should have gone harder on him, but
it is broken. At least that one anyways. That specific. For some apparent reason, the bits one is not working for some apparent reason. Even though it should work.
This one not to make me speaking, the other has to be mute. Poor the bitch dude.
I think I fixed it. I think it's fixed.
Frankly, they do not have the volume
it should be
video
working
evidence
just fine.
that we have in Korea. And Korea, this is something that folks don't know as compared to Japan. Korea has a lot more CCTVs.
Okay.
So there's probably a lot more footage we're not even seeing of Johnny Somali from different angles that's not that he did not stream, because a lot of the footage we're seeing as YouTubers online is from Johnny's perspective during his own streams.
Yeah.
But mind you, every single store in Korea, everywhere you go, there's CCTVs everywhere, and I guarantee you, in this case, the police have pulled a lot of that footage, and they've proven that he indeed has done these things.
Wow. Okay, so you think that things are going to be very different in Korea than what they were in Japan?
Very, very different. And also the fact is the prosecutors and authorities here are very aware of what he did in Japan.
Okay.
Unlike in Japan, where they really weren't aware of his history.
It's still broken? Alright, hold on.
Hey Kitsune over.
Give me a second.
TTS is ready to roll, just like our gaming adventures. Let's dive into the fun and excitement together. Nyaru and I are waiting for some epic moments. Asterisk, R asterisk.
Oh, there it is. It instead of saying it, it responded to your TTS. It responded to your TTS. Oh, that's crazy. Okay, I did not knew it was gonna respond to your TTS. I thought it was gonna say your TTS. Okay, all right. Okay, that was pretty cool. That was pretty interesting. Wow, okay, I did not know about that actually, to be honest.
Or his background or anything else. The judge, when he made a public apology, which he did in Japan, had every reason to believe he was sincere because he hadn't really ever done something like that.
Let me see. Does it work?
How was your day?
Okay, so that one doesn't respond, but I guess the bit one does respond to you, which is very weird. I thought I made it where the bits would read out, but it doesn't read out. It actually responds instead. I don't know how that fucking works, to be honest. I don't know what I did. I did something, to be honest. I did something. I don't know what happened.
That in another country.
I might have to see what's going on.
Of course, we all
she
know
broke
he
it.
left Japan, and then as soon as he left Japan, he insulted Japan. He showed pictures of the atomic bombs. He insulted Japanese people. You know, he said China #1. He did all those taunts after he left the country. So Korea can look at that behavior and say, well, you know, we don't put much on this public apology, which, by the way, in many Asian countries, right, including Korea and Japan, a public apology can be used to mitigate the punishment, right? So if somebody's done a public apology, they show remorse, right? That can be used to mitigate punishment. And that's also true in the U.S. too, right? When they go to sentencing, showing remorse can be a factor for
it's a narrator
lowering
voice.
the sentencing and not giving someone the maximum sentence. So I think when we look at the criminal guidelines, right, and we look at minimum and maximum, right, you have to think, okay, what would be maximum?
Hello. Thank you
that
for
would
the
be
follow,
something
so
that is
welcome.
very aggravated, that's very intentional, that's very willful, that's malicious. What's something that's the minimum? Somebody that did something perhaps where there's a lot of remorse, right, where it might have been something that was accidental, right, or there was some mitigating circumstance. When we look at Johnny, you know, it's closer to the top end of the spectrum than it is to the bottom.
Interesting.
Right? Because of his actions, because of what he said. And one interesting thing which I pointed out, and this is something that my Korean friends who are very well versed in the law, including lawyers, have told me, Johnny is facing multiple crimes in Korea. So he has this obstruction of business one, which was just indicted on, which means it was sent to the prosecutors, and the prosecutors recommended this for trial. That's charge number one. But the police are still investigating several other charges against him, including the drug use, including assault, including deepfakes, including, you know, all sorts of other things that people are now reporting. So he can be charged just because he's got this first offense. He can still go through with charges and trials on all of those other issues. And if he's found guilty of this first offense, for the second, third, fourth, and fifth, he will be a convicted criminal.
Somali's done. I hope so. I'm really hope so.
Punishment to minimum, that's going to send it flying to the top because he is now a repeat offender. He's now a convicted criminal.
Okay, yeah. So that kind of brings me into my next question, because there was a bunch of Discord logs coming from their server claiming that some of these charges are been dropped. Has anything officially been dropped yet?
Well, that's always the problem. I wouldn't believe a single thing Johnny Somali or his Discord bros are saying. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, of course. Why would anyone want to believe anything from Johnny Somali's Discord? Come on, man. Like it's not rocket science.
They're going to say a lot of stuff that is absolutely ridiculous, right? If something is dropped, we're going to hear formally about it.
Mhm.
Right now, what can happen and what may happen is, and I've explained the on my videos, I've had a process timeline for Korea because the process in Korea is different. In Korea, you file a criminal complaint, and unlike in the U.S., individuals can file a complaint and often are required to file a complaint to fill out the charge, to fill out exactly what the allegations are. The police often don't do that for you. You often have to do that yourself. So you fill out this criminal complaint, you file it with the police, and then the police conduct an investigation, and they decide whether to refer that to the prosecutors or not. So it's possible that some people have submitted things to the police, and the police have said, you know what, we're not going to send this to the prosecutor's office, right? So, for example, the one issue that I've brought up, the one that is debated right now, is that deepfake charge by Bong Bong IRL, the Korean female streamer. That one, it's debated whether she submitted a complaint. We saw video of that, but she subsequently experienced kind of, I guess, a change of mind. And it seems like she was lashing out at Korean netizens and Koreans in general. So she may have pulled that back, or she may have said, hey, look, I'm not going to testify in this or get involved. And the police may have just decided, oh, we're not going to refer this one over. But they might still be holding it. They might still be looking at it. We haven't gotten any official confirmation one way or another. So I would not trust anything that's coming from Johnny and his boys in terms of what's been dropped and not dropped. Everything that I've heard is that there are several that are on the table. Most importantly, assault and drug use are still on the table, have not been taken off the table yet.
What drugs did he take? That's the question. That's the question to ask. What drugs did he take?
Okay, and the assault, I was a little bit confused about that. Where is the assault charge from?
That too, as well, actually. What assault did he do?
That's actually interesting, and there's potentially multiple sources. It's much like the business obstruction. Actually, there's two separate instances at the same convenience store, the same 7-Eleven in Hongdae.
Okay.
So you can have multiple instances, and the prosecutors can combine them. So what the prosecutors may be doing now, and this is speculation, but this is, I think, reasonable speculation, is they may be looking at all the video, and they may be looking at every instance where Johnny potentially assaulted somebody, right? And saying, okay, how many of these can we stack together? How many charges can we get? Because right now they're collecting multiple reports, which is why I've called out, because I have many Korean viewers now, many folks calling in and giving messages from Korea, that if you are in these videos, you need to consider filing against Johnny Somali, right?
Oh, that's interesting.
He take ultra-white tiger cocaine, that one sniff you will see flying whale with gun sonokotro cooking.
Many of the Korean YouTubers, right, are filing against Johnny Somali or have filed against Johnny Somali. So it's, when you look at these things, you're saying, okay, these things can add up. So we don't know specifically. My inkling is it's going to be multiple accounts.
Interesting. So, like, he can really end up in prison for a long time in Korea then?
It is potential that he could, yes. He has potential to end up here for a significant period of time.
But can he stay there for a long time? That's the question to ask. Can he just stay there for a long time? And then, like, peace in the universe will come back to normal or so, you know? just peace will be back, you know? Everyone would be roses and daisies. All the wars would end. Everyone would start shaking hands. Everyone start, you know, we abolish racism and everything. We just become like a utopia, you know, once Johnny Somali has, like, disappeared, you know?
And one of the things, even with the obstruction,
like, we saw world hunger, you know, we solved the cure for cancer, you know, like everything is abolished and everything, you know, like anything like bad has happened in the world is gone or so because Johnny Somali is finally like in jail for like forever.
Charge is they had the option of going down two roads. One of those roads was towards summary proceedings, which essentially is a quick, fast proceeding where the judge just essentially says, okay, here's what we're gonna give you. It's probably gonna be a fine and what's called a suspended sentence, which means you don't go to jail. You just live your free life, you know, walking around doing whatever.
Maybe like the
you gotta stay
Messiah.
in Korea for that period.
His sacrifice was not in vain, you know. His sacrifice was worth it, you know.
They might have done
The
that
sacrifice was
if it
worth
wasn't
it.
that serious, but because there's been
I
so
think
much pressure,
I'm playing too
including
much
international
metaphor.
pressure from
Nah. It's perfect, bro. We just need him to be sacrificed to the jail gods, you know? And then we can finally end world hunger, you know, and solve every disease in the world. We cure everything, you know? See, that's just how it works, you know?
from coverage like international YouTubers' videos that are getting out on this,
Goes
they
to
sent it the
philosophy
trial
today.
route, which is the other
Bring him
route.
to Mexico, and then what happened? I don't think we'd see him for a while or so if we send him to Mexico.
They've officially indicted him, which means there will be a public trial.
Oh yeah, people question, like, I know this is a little bit off topic or so for the situation, but people like were questioning about the sentence or so where I said like some like the cartels were like kind of like anti-heroes or so, right, to the to like the Mexican place, right, because each one it, like controls their own like territory, right? They clean up their territory because it used to be a lot messed up in the past, because I know this because of experience. And when I went to go back or so to Mexico or so, right, the people in the village or so, right, the pueblo anyways is what it's called or so, but it's a village basically. They said it's a lot more better now, and it's a lot more cleaner, and everyone feels a lot more safe now. So, you know, like, yes, their methods are not correct for the cartels, right? It's not like I approve their methods. The reason why I say they're anti-heroes, because that's how some of them do see it that way, because the police are corrupted over there. I feel like some people who question that me, from someone who has experienced most of this stuff, does not know until they actually experience it, okay? All right? I just wanted to talk about that because there was a lot of people questioning about that shit, about that sentence or so, because you want to know something? I fucking experienced it, and I was over there, okay? All right? And I've talked to a lot of people from the village, okay? All right? So, like, seriously, like, everyone has literally said it's been a lot more cleaner. It's been cleaner. It's been a lot more nicer to walk out at night, and we don't have to worry about, you know, any issues or anything like that. So,
You know Somali is a very great person. He the only one that can make Yakuza, mobs, gangster, cartel, and priest become one to beat this dog. What a great guy Sanakotuk King.
was the commentator white? Oh, I don't know, to be honest. I had a few comments or so that they were messaging or so, like they were questioning like my sentence or so on that specific one. And it's just like, no, you guys don't understand because you guys have not lived there. You guys you guys never experienced it. That's number one, right? You guys never experienced it, and you guys never talked to the people from the village. I know this because I fucking went there, okay? Sorry. It's just so fucking annoying and so stupid for some people to like start jumping and be like not thinking with their brains, you know? So, because the problem is like the cops are pretty corrupted, because because I have met the corrupted cops. There was one instance or so where we were extorted for money on our way back to the airport. They took about like 2,000 pesos from us, or else they were gonna impound the car that we were driving in back to the airport. So yeah, that's the reason why. So yes, there's a reason why there's some police officers are corrupted, okay? All right? So, and unfortunately, there are some cartels that actually do some good things. Now, do I approve their methods? No, I don't. I've never said I approve their methods, you know? but they have done a lot of good stuff in the 2K. Yeah, I don't know how much it is in USD. Hey, Blitz Railgun. But yeah, that's basically it. Was just a couple of sentences, like a couple of comments or so. They were like, huh? Huh? What do you mean by that? Or like there was some like, how dare you say the cartels are anti-heroes? They're not anti-heroes. They're all cruel people. Every single one of them are cruel. They don't care about you or anything about that. They will murder you and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, yes, to some degree, but you want to know something? They only kill people if number one, they're out of line, if they're making if they're being troublesome, right? Number two, if you're selling drugs in their territory, they'll try to capture you and make you understand that you're in the wrong area for you to sell that stuff in their area. So like, I know this because I've been over there. I've seen the videos. I've seen all of the decapitation and all that stuff, you know. 2K pesos is what, 5 euros? It's now 94 euros. So yeah, like I said, I know this stuff, you know. I just wanted to talk about it at least for a little bit or so, because it was kind of like people were like questioning like my logic or so with it. I'm like, bro, because I fucking talked to the people over there. I know people who live over there. Okay? Jesus Christ.
Trial in Korea.
Because I sit down and talk to them about it. They know about this, you know? And then I found out that like up the street or so, like up like a few more blocks or so up the street, apparently from the village, there's like a different village or so that's like locked off or so, that's a little bit more hostile. And they said if you don't have a reason to be over there, right, they'll just shoot you on the spot, you know. So yes, there are some that are hostile, but then there's some that actually do want to like protect their, you know, their territory, which is their village or whatever, you know. It's like a form of like, they're anti-heroes. They're evil, but they also can do good stuff from time to time. Not all the time, but from time to time, yes. Do I approve their options the way how they do it? No, of course not. But it is what it is, you know. I would take a good one than the ones that take care of you for just talking shit, sober or drunk. Yeah, they got rid of like cholos and gangsters and shit over there. Like there used to be a lot of graffiti, and it was like super dangerous at a certain hour at night, and you were not supposed to leave out of your house at a certain hour at night. I don't know when it was or so specifically back then. And now, since it used to be quiet at nighttime and there would be nobody out at nights, now it's more bustling. It's a little bit more busier. There's a lot more people walking around at night. Everyone feels a lot more safer, and then there's no problem at all. So I'm just saying.
It's not sure whether it's with a judge or a jury. Juries are relatively.
I just
rare
wanted
in
to talk
Korea
about it
compared to
specifically
the
because
US.
some people
So it
were
might
just
just
like
be a
questioning my
trial
logic or so
where
forth.
there's
I'm like, well, you guys don't understand because you guys weren't over there. So it's a local militia. Interesting. Yeah, like it was just something that I wanted to talk about specifically. Because I was reading my comment section. Of course, I'm not gonna respond to them, of course, right? But it's just stuff like yes, they are considered as anti-heroes because yes, they do bad stuff, like really bad stuff, but they do care to a certain degree about their people, you know. So someone has to make the city a better place. Yeah, even though yeah, most of them do a lot of terrible things or so, right? I don't really approve their stuff like that, right? Like I said multiple times, I've never approved the ways how they do justice over there. But it's just like, you know, it's their place, you know, they do whatever the fuck they want, you know. I live over here, they live over there. So I personally don't want to go visit over there anymore. So yeah, because of the last experience, you know, I got extorted for money, you know, like the Punisher. Kind of like that, basically, yeah. It's like they care to some degree. It's not like every one of them is heartless, okay? All right, they care to some degree, but they also do terrible things a lot. So, you know,
criminal trial where it's just the judge and Johnny. However, That's the route we're going down, and under that route, the punishment is always more severe, typically jail time. All lawyers that I've spoken to here say this indicates that they're looking to seriously and severely punish Johnny.
Wow. Will this trial
I hope they punish this guy. Store time. All right, Kitsune, take care. Take care.
be public?
Yes, I will be there at every single hearing that I can be at.
Ooh, if it's actually public, we are so going to watch it to see what's going on or so for the court case for Johnny Somali. I hope he gets a really good, like, I hope he gets slapped with the book, to be honest. They gotta slap this man with the book.
Oh, wow.
And it will not be televised. That's the important thing. So Korea does not televise trials. Most jurisdictions don't. The United States has very rare sunshine laws in a lot of states, like in Florida, and transparency laws in other states that allow for filming. But even in the U.S., not all trials are allowed to be filmed. And most significantly, federal trials cannot be filmed, which I think is a great disservice. But I'm going to be reporting before the trial, after the trial, at every hearing I can go to. And if I can't attend, I'll have somebody here that I trust attend, and I'll report what goes on during those hearings.
I might have to take a look at Legal Mindset or so to see what he has for us specifically for the trial.
Okay, so you cannot record within the trial, essentially. So you can't film or record audio?
Damn, that sucks.
Not legally.
Okay,
Damn.
interesting. Yeah, you don't want to risk anything. Don't crash
I'm
out over him.
I'm not trying to do anything, but, I've heard some, let me just say this. I've heard some people that are YouTubers and streamers here saying, oh man, I want to take the risk. I want to go for it. I'm like, you can do whatever you want, but I'm staying clear of the law. I'm a lawyer here. I stay clear of the law.
Yeah.
So I'm staying out of that.
Why do you think he hasn't officially been arrested yet? Like, why is he roaming around freely right now?
First of all, that's a difference in the Korean process, and people misunderstand that. And he has been, quote unquote, arrested, right? He's already been taken in, booked.
I know, man. I wanted to actually watch it, to be honest. That sucks, to be honest. They can't do that. They can't live stream it. It would have been so funny to see it live streamed and everything like that. Ugh, it just would have been so good.
They got his photo. They told him the charges against him. So he's gone through that booking process. It's kind of like being released on bail, right? Except for that's the automatic presumption is they just let you go. And here's the logic. And I think when you really think about this, it makes a lot of sense. If you have somebody in jail, you have to feed them. You have to clothe them. You have to provide them with some basic services. You have to allow them to stay somewhere, right? So you have to maintain facilities. Korea says, hey, look, as a foreigner, you've got to pay for all that yourself. So the bills are coming in on Johnny Somali, right? He's not legally allowed to work here, right? Which is a separate issue, right? And whether his streaming activities constitute his work is a gray area, right? But he should not really be making that much money. So he's having to suffer really here in Korea through the pendency of the trial, which could take a while. So imagine you're in a foreign country and you've got to pay for months and months and months and months. Johnny Somali is not that wealthy. He does not have that much money. So this is actually going to be a significant burden on him to just maintain himself in this country, particularly since he can't farm it for clout. So in these months, he can't be clout farming because that's just going to add additional charges, aggravate things here in Korea. It's not going to help him out at all.
Damn, Legal Mindset has more videos on his YouTube with Somali. Most recent video has a list of Somali's current charges and pending charges. And not gonna lie, the charges are even worse. Really, they're even worse. I bet North Korea has allergic reaction if he comes there. Who knows?
So that's going to be a big burden on Johnny Somali. It's essentially shutting down his business operations.
Man, we'll still do it. Yeah, he'll still probably. So I'm like, he'll still probably do the clout shit. To be honest, like, this man's a fucking clout goblin at the end of the day. So,
what are the legal costs like in Korea? Because I know here in the U.S. they're outrageous. I got sued for context a couple of years back, and just getting quoted how much they ended up dropping the case before it went to trial. So thankfully, I wasn't burdened with that. But I mean, I was quoted hundreds of thousands of dollars just to defend myself. So, like, what are the costs he's looking at to defend himself here?
Now costs are a little bit lower in Korea because the average is a little bit lower in terms of what folks would own. But the thing is, because Johnny Somali is such a high-profile case, because he has so many things coming against him, right? To hire a competent defense lawyer would, in fact, be quite expensive. To put an estimate on it, and they do the same system of retainer, so you need to give some money up front, right? So I imagine that this lawyer wouldn't even start working for him, even just in the beginning, without something like, you know, $5, $10, $20,000 up front, even for the basics, even for the absolute basics, in terms of just an upfront retainer, not to mention representing him throughout the whole pendency of the trial and the period. Now, they are entitled, like in the US, to a public defender, right? Because these are criminal charges. So he can take the services of a free public defender, a state-provided public defender. But as we know in the United States, anybody who's had any interaction with the criminal system and public defenders, much like in the United States, quality may vary when it comes to public defenders. You can get some that are really good, and you can get some that kind of are phoning it in. They're government employees. They get a very low wage relative to private attorneys, right? And
You can either have a really good lawyer or a really shitty lawyer. I'm crossing my fingers that he gets a really shitty lawyer. Or at least like they kind of play stupid or so, you know, and like try to get him to get the consequences, you know. I'm hoping, you know, I'm just kind of hoping he gets like a bad lawyer, you know.
The other thing about Korean attorneys is they're very frank, and this is what I love about Koreans. And I love about Korea. The reason why I love staying here, living here, is they're very direct. And
I hope so. I really hope so, because that would be really fucking funny if they give him a public lawyer, but it's a terrible fucking public lawyer. I'm really hoping that he gets a really bad lawyer, because it would be so fucking hilarious to see.
And I tell a story of when I went into a lawyer here because I was fixing up my visa. I was converting it from one type of visa, business visa, to another type of visa. And I had submitted the wrong paperwork. And when I went into that attorney, the first thing they told me,
Ko can be his lawyer and be famous while not defending him, but instead introduce her channel Sonakoto Cooking.
I don't know about that.
You know you screwed up, right? That's my first interaction with my lawyer. I love it, but they're very direct.
Yeah.
So I can imagine with Johnny, they would sit him down and grill him for hours on everything he did wrong and why what he did was wrong. Koreans do not play around like that. They're very, very direct. I love that about them. So I can see a lawyer that he approaches absolutely chewing him out and requiring a large amount just to even deal with it. So this could be something that costs him easily in US dollars. This could get six figures, absolutely, because of the volume of charges, right? So over the whole case, over all the money you'd have to get, six figures is definitely possible in terms of legal costs.
God damn, dude.
Wow.
That's
that is just, that's insane. So yeah, that leads me, I guess, to the next question. When it comes to prosecution of this case, are they gonna go for like as much punishment as possible, or do you think they're gonna try to be a little bit lenient? Like, what do you think the odds are here?
So typically with most foreigners, they are very lenient. So in fact, for most foreigners, the solution is deportation. So they're just like, look, we're just going to deport you and then we're going to blacklist you, right? So you can't come back. That's typical foreigner punishment. Because at the end of the day, I mean, that's a pretty good punishment for most things, right? And typically you get something like, for example, drug use. If someone brought pot, it's very severe, but you're going to immediately get deported. You're going to get, hit with that and then deported pretty quickly, right? You do something like DUI or whatever, fighting, etc. They're probably just going to deport you, probably get you out of the country. But in Johnny's case, because it's risen to national attention, literally members of parliament here are bought in on this. They're proposing, they're in fact recently drafting new bills in parliament specifically to deal with Johnny Somalis or Johnny Somali type scenarios.
Are you serious?
This has gotten to national scale. So because it's that big, they're looking at this and saying, yeah, we kind of need to give some severe punishment here. So they're looking at the severe end of the scale. So I
Wow.
think that they're going to push as much as they can, given the evidence that they have, towards the
God
severe end of the scale.
damn.
Now, of course, the ultimate sentencing is up to that judge, right? So they would be whoever is the judge, them looking at the evidence and making the assessment once they find him guilty, which
Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, holy shit, dude. This got catastrophic levels of like, god damn, even the, like, damn, dude. Ooh, fuck, dude.
which, by the way, he is dead to rights on the interference with business, obstruction of business. That is like, I've spoken to several lawyers, people very intimately aware of this. This one is a slam dunk based on that convenience store footage, both of him throwing the ramen, yelling at the woman, and then at the same convenience store in Hongdae, when it was the old man that comes outside and chases him when he was drinking the soju, and he was yelling at the people on the street. He called one woman the B word, right? That's the same store. Both of those things count as interference with business. Clear as day in Korea.
Wow. So what is the latest updates of all of this that you know of right now?
So the latest updates, other than the biggest news, is the indictment. The fact that this is going to trial, that this is going to be something public. This is something that I will go in and cover. This is something that we're going to hear legal updates. This is not something they're going to bury. That is absolutely massive. There was a little bit of the news and the scuttlebutt about the passport, right? But the thing that he doesn't realize, and most people don't realize, is that Korean system. This is not 1890. Right? Korea is a very technologically advanced country, and their system is digital. So the travel bans that are issued are nationwide, and he's not going to be able to get out of any port of entry, any place that he could possibly leave, because that's all digital, right? So even if he doesn't go to Incheon Airport, Seoul Incheon Airport, which is the main international airport, if he goes to Gimpo, if he goes to Busan, if he goes to Pohang, any Daegu, any city in Korea, they're not going to let him out. They're going to go. He's going to show up to the flight desk, and they're not even going to issue him a ticket. They won't even give him a ticket. He's not even going to get to immigration.
Interesting.
So he's totally locked down here in Korea.
So then I've been watching your recent coverage on this, and something that has came up quite a few times is Cabbage Memes in regards to him.
I've also been seeing the Cabbage meme in my comment section, specifically talking about this video. I was just like, I was like, Cabbage Memes. I'm like, are they referring to like the Avatar, the Last Airbender Cabbage Dude or something? You know?
Can you explain that? So why are you guys memeing that he is going to become a cabbage farmer?
Future cabbage farmer.
So Korea, they actually thought about getting rid of this, but they didn't pass the law to get rid of this. So technically, if you get hit with a prison sentence, and part of that prison sentence includes a fine, and in the U.S. we have a system where sometimes you get hit with both jail time and a monetary penalty as well. That's possible. Both are possible. So if you get hit with both and you cannot pay the fines, they still can send you to forced labor. Now, in Korea, there's 3 different main areas where you get sent. Number 1 is a factory. Number 2 is a road work, so sort of the chain gang, so to say, as we might be, using it in the U.S. So working on the roads, paving the roads, cleaning the roads. And the third one, because there's a shortage of workers, there's a legitimate shortage of workers here in Korea, is agricultural work. That is one area where they send people out there. So my theory craft here is that he could be sent out to literally the cabbage fields of Korea to be farming that lovely, lovely kimchi.
Oh, I see. I see. 3 cheeseburgers have been the top of my song lately at work. Oh, nice. I'm glad you're enjoying the 3 cheeseburger song.
That would just be meme magic. It would be perfect. Of course, yes, it's a low probability scenario because there's other things you could be sent to do if you had to pay that fine. But it is absolutely hilarious. And you know what? Johnny Somali deserves to be memed.
You know what? That would be funny. He should be a cabbage farmer, to be honest. He should be 100%. You know what? I think it would be great.
To oblivion.
Yeah, I mean, like at the end of the day, like IRL streaming can be so cool, and
It
it's
can
such
be. Like it can, like IRL streaming can be so much fun because you can like you can talk to your chat or so, and you can take your chat with you to like wild adventures and stuff like that. Like the scenery and stuff, the food, the shows, whatever events that are happening over there. Maybe there's a beach over there that maybe you can go to the beach. Just all this other stuff.
a shame that now it's just so associated with his negative behavior.
Yeah.
Which is like one of the main reasons I've been covering as well. Like I've been covering just people doing laughably stupid stuff on the internet for the last like 8 years. And he's just been kind of at the top of that for the last couple
stream
months.
incoming.
No, because I don't want to show my face.
So hence why he's just been getting a lot of coverage from me, because he just keeps blowing my mind with stooping to a lower and lower level. One other thing that kind of surprised me was he said that he wanted to sue you.
Yeah, he said he wanted.
Johnny Somali is trying to sue Legal Mindset? What? Okay, that's pretty fucking crazy in my personal opinion.
To sue me, and I don't know what for. I don't know what he's going to try to do. Obviously, nothing I'm covering is defamation or insult, even though the defamation laws and insult laws are different in Asia, right? Obviously, I'm doing news coverage, the same sort of news coverage that a public news agency would do, etc. Right? I'm a member of the media, as Elon says, we are the media now.
Yeah.
This is media coverage like anybody else. I'm covered and afforded the
It's
same
so
protections.
dumb.
It is inherently in the public interest. This is a matter of great public interest. So even if he was to try that here, which, by the way, once again, he would have to find the money to do that. He would have to get all of my information. He'd have to have my location. Good luck on that. And he'd have to serve me.
Same as well. He's got to get my location too as well if he's trying to come after me,
Properly with the complaint. Right, so very difficult process. Pressing X to doubt on that, it would be very, very difficult. But yeah, he did threaten to sue me in his Discord.
That's
he said he's
crazy.
gonna file charges against me or something, right?
Johnny the Shitcher Somali.
Going to sue Japan for not giving out that 70K.
Once again, good luck with that, Johnny. And even if you did, which I
jeez.
would actually invite it, because I would cover the absolute destruction of this guy in court publicly for everybody to enjoy. And I love a good lol suit. I love a good lol suit. It's great.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I guess it's just more content.
It's content. Yeah, you're gonna give. I'm a legal content creator. You're gonna threaten to sue a legal content creator that I can cover entirely for content. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you.
Well, yeah, thank you so much for taking your time to come on my show and explain some of the details that were very unclear while covering it. Also, like, just because so much of this is breaking in either Korean or in Japanese, so I've been just like running through all the translation bots I can possibly do to like get the gist of what's going on. So it was great to ask you questions.
The translation bot you had for Pong Pong at the station, I was like,
That was
so
yeah.
rough.
That was very botched. I realized it quickly, which is why I didn't play the whole clip. I was just like, well, maybe we understood 30% of what's going on here, but
it's not ready for prime time. I want to give a big shout out real quick to my Korean friends here. I'm talking to a lot of folks here, whether they're I have a good friend who's a professor of linguistics at Suwon University, Dr. Ulrich. He's a great guy. He's been helping me with a lot of translations and a lot of videos. I've had a lot of Korean friends here, thanks to my Korean friends that are lawyers and legal experts in the legal field here that have helped me with translations. I'm relying heavily on them. My Korean is not great. I survived 3 years in Korea, pretty much knowing 감사합니다, which is thank you, and 읽어주세요, which is give me that, please. But I really appreciate all my Korean friends and my Korean partners, and also all the small Korean channels. I have always given them permission to clip me and use my clips in any way and translate them anyway, because this message is a really good message. It needs to get out there. And our coverage of it is helping Korea, is helping the system push this through. So I'm really really
they should,
thankful
to be honest,
for all those that have translated this into Korean.
And yeah, just I'll kind of retweet that as well. Like, you can take any of my clips from my channel and dub them into Korean if you guys want to do so and rebroadcast them. And also, I've hit up 3 guys to translate into Korean, because all of those videos, I was trying to get a hold of translators and they didn't get back to me until 3 days later, and I'm like, this is way too late. I mean, the video is already up now. No.
You're just working on the speed of YouTube. It's a
I
different
know,
level, you know.
It's quick turnaround times here, unfortunately, because there's just so much that happens every single day now. It's crazy.
It's old.
Damn, are we actually gonna get like an update every single day about the Johnny Somali situation? Holy shit, dude.
News 2, 3, 4, 5 days from now. So, you know, and it's in the process is only going to get crazier. You know, obviously one of the next things we'll have to look forward to is a hearing announcement when his first hearing is, an initial appearance, right?
Dude, I'm gonna be so excited or so to hear the first hearing and everything.
You know, and there's obviously things that'll happen in terms of announcements of the other crimes, right? And then let's say he was to start streaming again and say something stupid or post something stupid on one of his platforms, there might be other stuff there. So we'll see. Johnny Somali continues to dig himself in deep, and his allies aren't helping him, and certainly his fans aren't helping him.
Definitely not. So what do you think the timeline on
Johnny Somali has fans? I guess a bunch of like teenagers, I guess. Teenager boys, I guess, you know?
Is on the announcement of his trial, roughly?
I don't want to make a prediction just yet, but I do think in general it will be expedited. These things typically can take up to 2 years, but I don't think it's gonna take that long, right? So the whole process from criminal complaint charged to trial can take 2 years.
Wow.
In fact, the investigation phase, the police investigation, is typically 2 to 4 months before they send a recommendation to the prosecutor. The prosecutors typically do investigations for 2 to 4 months. That's up to 8 months right there, just an investigation that can happen on a typical case. They've moved this in weeks, right, all the way up to the trial stage. That's very fast. So because they're expediting this, I don't want to give a prediction because this could go very, very fast. We could see a trial date, at least a first trial date in the near future. To be very clear, in Korea, there's several hearings that are spaced out. So the first appearance is not going to be like the ultimate trial. It's not like it's not OJ trial or something else where you have
I doubt it. I really doubt it. But Legal Mindset will be covering a lot of it. So I assume the other commentary channels will probably talk about it too specifically. But we could probably watch Legal Mindsets to see what he has to say about it, because apparently he's over there. It seems like it seems like he's like in some kind of hotel or something. He might be actually over there in Korea. So
day one and it goes through the process and it's over in a couple weeks. That's not how it works here.
So this can be dragged on for a long time.
There could be one hearing and then a month or two before the next hearing, right? So
interesting.
There can be spaced out hearings, right? Typically there's 2 to 4. So this is something that could be over the course of a couple months, which
that's crazy. We'll that's actually crazy.
Wow. Well, yeah, that answers all my questions. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll stay in touch because I'm assuming this will be dragged on for quite a while.
Yes, it will, and thank you for covering it once again. I appreciate it. And also, thank you for having me on for an interview. It's my pleasure to talk with you from lovely Seoul, South Korea.
Awesome. No worries. And guys, make sure to go check out Legal Mindset because he is also giving you guys more of a boots on the ground coverage of the situation. So from what it sounds like, Johnny has found himself in some serious trouble. Shout out Legal Mindset for taking the time to do this. I'll be linking his channel down in the description down below. Feel free to check him out as he's been very insightful with his coverage about this story. I mean, this whole conversation really put things into perspective of how cooked Johnny could potentially be. Not only with a prison sentence, but also financially. I mean, he has to cover his own stay in Korea for all of this time, which is why he hasn't been arrested yet. And then on top of that, he has to pay to defend himself. Welcome. And that's not only for this case, it's for all.
He's in Korea. Yeah, he said it on his stream. He also gave apology flowers to each of the statues that Somali harassed in person. Oh, interesting.
The potential other cases. So he's really dug himself in a massive hole here, and it just seems like he's not even aware of it himself. And if you want to see the full story of how we got
Jesus Christ. And I think if I remember correctly, right, I think I also watched Tozy is always an enjoyable channel, right? I think there's like one thing as well specifically talking about the Johnny Somali thing. I don't think I have the video here. I saw a video popped up on my feed or so, right? That apparently Johnny's friend or so, whatever his name is specifically, Johnny's friend, right? Apparently, well, I don't know if it's true or not, right? Because I didn't get the chance to watch the video. It kind of like disappeared off the algorithm or so. Where so Johnny Somali's friend went back to America apparently. I'm not too sure, for some birthday party. So I don't know. There were some pictures or something like that or so. Yeah, apparently the South Korean people, like the South Korean police, the justice system or the police or so, they want him back in Korea. Apparently, I'm not sure. Take it as a grain of salt. That's what I read or so. At least like the headline at least about it, that they want him back to South Korea. You know, to kind of, you know, face some punishment as well. Dude, reverse deportation. So apparently that's the thing that they want to do. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if there's anything about it. He was smarter and left. Yeah, he is smarter, but he's still stupid at the end of the day, though. At the end of the day, he is stupid. So, anyways. It is what it is, but yeah, that's the Johnny Somali information that we, at least as of now, we know. But I assume there will be future more updates. There's probably going to be, you know, I can't wait. I'm hoping that he gets a really long time in jail so he can suffer the consequences of his actions, you know. And then everything will be back to peace and quiet in the universe, you know. We'll be able to solve cancer, you know. All wars would end immediately, you know. We'll finally solve world hunger, you know. We'll solve every problem in the world really easily, you know. So, you know, it's just gonna be nice and quiet, you know. It's gonna feel calm, relaxing. Imagine yourself in a winter forest. Anyways, yeah, that's the end of the video. Nah, Asian Americans will go after Johnny's friend. Yeah, then, yeah, it could happen, actually. So you're not probably wrong, so. But anyways, that's the end of the video. You guys can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff, and yeah. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment sections, you know. How many guesses, like, let's see if anyone can guess how long he'll be in jail for, you know. I have my bet on 20 years. I'm hoping he stays there for 20 years. But anyways, that's the end of the video, and